Anywhere you go in Ethiopia, you find people acknowledging the presence of God.
So why do you say that God is here in Ethiopia?
He's here. God is here.
God is here in Ethiopia.
100%.
Yo,
100%, I swear.
you're 100% sure God is here.
I'm sure.
There are many opportunities for exciting experiences in Ethiopia. I enjoyed it a lot. I even got to see and touch the throne of His Majesty Emperor Selassie.
I like to Addis.
You like Addis Ababa?
Yeah.
How is Addis Ababa different in comparison to other areas of Ethiopia?
To me,
Yes.
that's modern civilizations.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And the diplomatic city of Africa.
And the what?
The diplomatic city of Africa.
Addis Ababa.
Yes, more embassies than Addis Ababa. And more diplomatic cities in United Nations, African Economic Commission.
While it is true that many aspects of Ethiopia are quite humble, it is also true that the Ethiopian people possess an unmistakable energy that embraces the challenges of life. Interestingly, this fearless embrace of life's challenges and vigorous pride in Ethiopians are held by some Ethiopians who are, well, not considered Ethiopians by some. They are Rastas. Greetings. I am Kingsley Ragashanti Stewart, anthropologist, entertainer, and broadcaster. In late 2015, I had the pleasure of visiting Ethiopia in Africa. I specifically wanted to go to Shashemene, the city of Shashemene there, to get a glimpse into the life of the Rasta men and Rasta women who had repatriated from Jamaica and were living there permanently. Before going there, some friends of mine gave me the name of a contact there and said, this man is originally from Jamaica, he has been living there for decades, and he is more than qualified to show you around and to explain to you what exactly is going on there with the Rastafari living in Shashemene. I flew into Ethiopia, into the city of Addis Ababa, and met my contact, Desmond Martin, at my hotel there at the Hilton Hotel in Addis Ababa. Immediately on meeting Desmond, I was struck by his very engaging personality and, his charisma, his energy, his effervescence, and more importantly, what he had to share about the Rastafari living in Shashemene, Ethiopia. I was so intrigued by what he was sharing that I asked him, would it be okay if I interviewed you right now, right here in my hotel room at the Hilton Hotel? And thankfully, he obliged. So I grabbed my camera, set it up, and I did the interview right there, which turned out to be the highlight of my trip in terms of what I learned, how educational that interview was, how revealing it was, how provocative it was, and definitely how inspiring it was. And as it turned out also, the time I was there in Shashemene, an unprecedented event occurred amongst the Rastafari there, which, really tested their resolve. And I also have the opportunity of sharing that with you here in this interview. The interview, I've divided it up into 9 parts. Some parts are longer than some, and but it put it all together, and it tells quite a story. So again, I did this from 2015. It is now 2019. I'm making this recording right here, but I've always wanted to share it. Better late than never. So without further ado, I introduce to you Desmond Martin, Rastaman originally from Jamaica, but has been living in Ethiopia as a repatriated Rastafari man for decades upon decades. Without further ado, Desmond Martin.
Well, right now we are in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and it is indeed a pleasure to be here. And I have a brethren here with me. And I'm going to let the gentleman introduce himself.
Yes, give thanks, Ashanti.
Rock
Ashanti. Give thanks.
Rock Ashanti.
Give thanks to have this interview with the eye because it's few of our people from the West come here and I'm glad to get this opportunity. My name is Desmond Martin. I'm from Kingston, Jamaica. I was informed that on the 23rd of November this year, I will be living in Ethiopia for 40 years.
40 years in Ethiopia.
Zero. Yeah.
Never been living here in Ethiopia for 40 years.
Never been back.
And never go back to Jamaica?
No. Why? Because I found my paradise. You might be surprised, but it's a paradise.
Hold up, Desmond. First of all, make we establish some context here. So you left Jamaica, the 23rd of this month will be 40 years since you left Jamaica. Tell the people why you left Jamaica and came here.
I gave you a quick introduction a while ago. But now, first of all, I must give thanks for the 12 tribe of Israel. I came to Ethiopia through our organization. Our most beloved late prophet, Dr. Vernon Carrigan, in 1968, inaugurated the 12 tribe of Israel. And our main aim was repatriation. I could remember the application form as we filled out. What's the purpose we joined this organization for? And I mentioned to go to Africa. I joined the organization in 1970. And within that time, we members usually pay 10 cents for Jews every week.
Mm-hmm.
That's what sent me here. When we get a fare, we send a person. I was the 4th person who came from the 12th tribe of Israel at that time. And there's other reasons. I would like to explain about the pending doom of the Western world. That is the main reason I left Jamaica. Because when I was in Jamaica, I was an accountant.
You were an accountant?
Yes, I was a little bit.
So why you left good Jamaica? What's pending doom about Jamaica? Yes, sir.
Jamaica is the most beautiful country in the whole wide world.
Right.
Climatically, the people too is good.
Right.
But I found out that Ethiopia is a big Jamaica. The same sentiments that the people in Jamaica shares, Ethiopia shares the same. So I agree with His Majesty when he said Jamaicans and
His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie.
He got the word as he said.
Right.
He said Jamaicans and Ethiopians are blood brothers.
Okay.
That makes me proud. Because as you know, Ethiopia is a country that was never colonized.
Right.
We're natural from the beginning of Adam until now. And even it's one of the oldest country in the world of civilization.
One of the oldest civilizations in the world, indeed.
So now, I think that it should be a good place to be.
Eh? What that now?
Custard apple.
Custard apple? Yeah. And what kind of other fruit you have on your home?
I have avocado, I have panganut, I have banana, I have pear. I have over 12 different fruits. I have guava. Yeah, I know not to susumba.
Susumba? Alright. I just like it at Jamaica, man.
Oh, gully bean.
Gully bean, well, that's the other name for it. But it's like it at Jamaica, man.
It's a big Jamaica, I'm going to tell you already, man. Big Jamaica, man, alright. You can't give a continent to the island. Right? No, come in.
Tell me something though. When you came here in, again, so that is
1975.
1975.
Yeah.
At that time, did you view His Majesty as a deity, as a god at that time?
Yes. You know, there are capital G and common G. You know, there's only one capital G God, and that is Jesus Christ our Lord. Now,
Hold on. Let me first we should let people know that we are in Addis Ababa right now. We're at the Hilton Hotel in Addis Ababa, but you live in Shashemene, right? And explain to them the whole thing where Haile Selassie gave Rastafari land in Shashemene to live. Explain to them what that was about, so that people can understand.
Yes. What happened? There was an Italian invasion.
Right.
In 1936.
Right.
Okay? And you know, the Jamaican people and people of the Caribbean came to assist His Majesty in that struggle.
Okay.
So in 1955, I'm not sure about the exact date, but His Majesty, in order to appreciate of the help that we gave Ethiopia, he gave us 5 gushes of land in Shashemene. Beautiful land. It's a plateau. And you know,
so when he said gave us, who did he give?
the black people of the Western world.
Okay.
The black people who helped to Ethiopia to be victorious, actually, because we in 1941 we conquered the Italians. After His Majesty went into exile in 1936, on the 5th of May, he came back to Ethiopia in 1941 on the same day, the 5th of May. We call it Patriot Day, Freedom Day, Victory Day. So His Majesty did well, and he invited us. He came to Jamaica in 1966, as you know.
Right.
And you know what he mentioned? He said, no, because at that time, we only concentrate on one tribe, the tribe of Judah. Because Marcus Garvey had predicted that when you see a king, a black king born crowned in Ethiopia, know that the black people redemption draw at nigh. So
Garvey said, look to the east for the crowning of a black king. And
yes,
that
that's his history.
Okay.
So in 1930, His Majesty was crowned King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering land of the tribe of Judah. So in the Bible, in the Revelation,
we're going that though. But
slowly.
So His Majesty gave the land, and it is that land that Jamaicans from, black people from Jamaica, seeking repatriation back to Africa because they were dissatisfied with life in the Western world and the values and what it stood for, and you wanted to go back to your roots, and that is how you ended up, applying also through the 12 tribes of Israel, and then coming here to Shashemene, and so you came straight from Jamaica then, right?
Yeah, I came exactly from Kingston. I'm a Kingstonian.
Kingston. Where in Kingston you live?
Berwick Road off Maxwell Avenue.
Where, Berwick Road?
Yeah, the most notorious place.
It's a Maxwell, man.
I'm a Maxwell Avenue, man.
Alright, so Berwick Road, anywhere else?
No, I told you, I came into when I was 23, no?
23, okay.
Yeah,
But no, you're from Berwick Road, Maxwell.
Berwick Road, I don't know.
And so boom, you just
take a
fly out.
Yeah.
Did you fly straight here? You had to go through something.
I went to England.
England. How long is there England?
I left Jamaica the 19th.
Right.
24 days.
4 days in England.
The worst of my life. Why?
And those were the worst days of your life?
Why? It was so cold.
Oh.
It was November. And it was so cold. I didn't bathe. I put on one pants and one sugar on the one that I had on.
Right.
To keep warm.
And then you landed in Addis Ababa and then went to Shashemene.
Yeah, I spent about 2 days here.
Right.
We were informed to do that, advice,
right.
We look around,
Mm-hmm.
and then we went to Shashemene. At that time, it was 6 hours journey.
At that time?
Twisting roads.
Right.
Yeah, potholes. But eventually,
from Addis Ababa to Shashemene.
It was 6 hours.
Okay. So you went to Shashemene, for what you consider then to be a better life. And what was life like in those early times? Was it what you envisioned? Was it luxurious paradise living, or were there some rough times, or was there a mixture? What was it like?
Let me tell you about this one now.
Yeah.
It was a sacrifice type of life.
A sacrifice.
Yeah, because the liberty we have in Jamaica.
Right.
It was opposite to that.
Right.
It was social regime. It was just after the coup. The coup was in 1974, so it was actually just after the coup. So you could imagine the animosity.
Right.
You understand me?
Right.
Against the Rastafarians. But let me tell you, it was a surprise to us. The military, especially, they respected us to the max. Yes, they have curfew at that time, 12 o'clock.
Right.
So I went up on the road after 12, and they salute us as a Jamaican, go home.
Okay.
If it was Ethiopian, they would be in jail. So I love that also. They have a very good respect for we, the Jamaicans here in Ethiopia. And okay, why I come also is to save my life. When I say my life, I mean my heritage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were taken from Ethiopia 500 years ago.
Right.
And we went through slavery.
Right.
That means now there was an origin.
Right.
When I trace it back, it's Africa.
Okay.
And particularly Ethiopia because of His Majesty's presence.
Mm-hmm.
And because of His Majesty's invitation, one of the first head of state who allowed us and give us land here in Ethiopia. However,
Okay.
I'm excused. So that's the reason also I want to find my heritage. I want to build
find your roots.
The roots. I want to build my heritage here.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have grandchildren in Ethiopia.
So hold on. So you married an Ethiopian woman?
Yeah, man. First, that's not mixed history because my wife came after I was here about 1 year. She came.
Your wife from
Jamaica.
From Jamaica. Hold on. So your wife from Jamaica came here?
Yeah, after I was here 1 year.
After you were here 1 year, your wife from Jamaica came?
I called her, yeah.
And she came.
With
So
two
your
kids.
wife from Jamaica came 1 year after you got here?
Yeah, and
with two kids. She brought the kids also?
About 2 years and 3 years.
Yeah, and then so...
She brought the kids. That
Right.
was a mistake because I should have realized that it wasn't for kids. It was a pioneering.
It was a pioneering move.
My ego overcome me because my wife was beautiful and fat and nice. You understand me? So now I called her and when she came, because she encouraged me to come, you know.
Okay.
She even mentioned to me, you see that night that you didn't say you were ready, I would have leave you immediately. So she had the ego. But the practicality of it now. When she come, she said, this is a poverty-stricken place. That's what she said. I said, what? My mother country? Ethiopia is my motherland. You are my wife. I only have one motherland, but I can get a next wife. Red card. To end it.
And you just ended the relationship with your wife?
It was a gradual thing.
Right, because...
She tried to run away a few times. Said she can't take it. I said, no, I took her passport.
So you took her passport when she tried to run away?
So eventually, I said, all right, hear me now, man, I find out some misery this, you know. Take this, you will break my heart, you will break my heart.
Right.
But now, my conviction is Ethiopia. So
you were just so committed to Africa, yes. Ethiopia, and Rasta.
Yes, and also...
that even if your wife wasn't on board, she had to go.
She was dedicated to me too.
Okay.
And however, at the end of the day, we are good friends.
Okay.
She's my sister.
Wonderful.
Yeah, at the end of the day. Oh, she said...
So she left with the kids?
Yes. And she said, I can't get a next husband like you. And I give thanks that she encouraged me to come.
Right.
Now, when I realized it was a good decision.
Okay. So what happened after she then? After she left with the kids then what happened?
About... Very quick. I was a sharpshooter. I got a wife within a year. You know?
So did you divorce her though?
She divorced me.
Oh, your first wife divorced you?
For desertion.
For desertion?
I don't know why she do that. But maybe in America.
You got another one?
Okay. Immediately, I got a beautiful one. And I have 4 kids. The first one was 23, and my only daughter, 20, she's in the university.
So those are Ethiopians, they're all born here.
Yeah, and pretty awesome.
Are they citizens of Ethiopia?
No.
Because, if you don't mind me, because I'm well aware that there's a situation here where it's very hard to get citizenship here. And one of the things that that a lot of people are protesting to Ethiopia about is that when foreign nationals have children here, those children should be considered citizens. But Ethiopia doesn't consider them citizens.
I would say Ethiopia, even the constitution stated that.
Or the constitution
But the system.
So wait, so after, you've been here for 40 years now. Are you a citizen of Ethiopia?
No, I'm still a Jamaican. I have to be paying yearly 1,500 birr to maintain my residence, not permanent, even, temporary residence, which makes you legal. You can do anything, you can travel, and so on. Yeah.
Oh, so that is what you are, right?
Yeah.
So, and your children, they're not citizens. What are they?
What I did, why also, I applied for Jamaican citizenship for them. Why? There was a reason, a great reason. But I was thinking, because in Ethiopia, especially in wartime, I see they drafted a lot of people who are citizens, nationals. Now, if I had turned my children to Ethiopian, I am sure they would have tried something to draft them into the army.
So your children, though, what are they considered here?
Jamaicans. They have a passport, Jamaican passport, like I told you before. I applied.
Have they ever been to Jamaica?
No.
So hold on.
Them come like them Jamaica more than
no, this is fascinating though.
Yeah.
So your children, who they were born here in Ethiopia, and have never been in Jamaica.
No.
They are Jamaican citizens, but they're not citizens of the country that they're born in because their father.
Yeah, they're Jamaican.
But you're married to an Ethiopian woman.
Yes, I should have the rights. I should have the rights.
So when you marry an Ethiopian woman, you cannot apply for it.
I read the proclamation. You should automatically get your Jamaican citizenship. But
no, you're Ethiopian citizenship.
Yeah, when you approach the authority, which is the immigration and foreign affairs, they said that don't work. So that's the problem.
If you don't mind me asking you, but because you love Ethiopia, 40 years I've been here.
More than my wife.
Yeah. You love Ethiopia more than your wife.
Yes.
But some people listen to that and they say, but
why?
The country has not accepted you. The government, they have not made an effort to accept you formally. Some people said that saying, communicating to you.
I think it's political.
It's political.
Because they know we are supporters of His Imperial Majesty. We emulate him and so on, which is opposite to them. So give thanks also that we let us stay here.
Right.
Because if some of the people that are kicked us out already. And I give thanks to Mengistu Haile Mariam too. He was the one who gave me my residence.
Who?
Mengistu Haile Mariam was the head of the fascist regime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he gave us the Rastafari, because what happened, unfortunately some of us went to prison for only one thing, as you know, ganja. And then we spent 6 months. And so when we came out from the prison, it seemed like Mengistu realized that we were here. They thought that everybody went. But while people were going, because other Jamaicans were in Shashemene, and they left while this problem was about, the transition.
Hold on.
And we came in same time.
So a lot of other Jamaicans came to be repatriated to Africa. Yeah. And are you saying that many of them left?
Yeah.
And why did they leave?
When the revolution comes about, they were afraid, I think. No, we are Christian soldiers. And give thanks, we were informed of the event before, prior to what took place by our prophet. He said in 1974, His Majesty is going to, 1972, His Majesty is going to leave the scene of action. So we have that, we didn't understand what it means, but we saw it up in 1974. So now we prepare our body, mind, and soul to take Africa. Because repatriation is a must, Nothing can stop repatriation. It's a biblical prophecy. So
it's biblical. It's
prophecy. It's prophecy. Yeah.
Repatriation is a must.
Must.
For who?
For the elected, because you have election. For example, in the time of Noah time, it was like.
No, hold on. I'm just trying to be a little.
I want to compare something.
Right. So repatriation is a must for the elected. What are you saying, like? people from the African diaspora, or are you saying Jamaicans or Rastafari?
I would use the word Rastafarians for whosoever will may come.
Okay.
Because Ethiopia opened its doors still, you know. Whosoever will come is on the bureaucracy that, you know, like visas and so on.
I mean, no, I mean, Ethiopia traditionally has had a conflict with its neighbor, Eritrea. Right? It's much better now, but even now, since I've been here, we've seen where people are running from Eritrea in droves, trying to get to Ethiopia. And they're being welcomed at the border and treated with respect. And so, but don't you think there's some confusion there that you welcome refugees, treat them with respect, but you don't, if they can be here for 40 years and you don't give them
these refugees,
citizenship?
These refugees don't emulate His Imperial Majesty or the Rastafarians' doctrine. What happened also, they didn't leave Ethiopia by free will. They were forced to leave, ethnical groups. The Eritreans, because there was a war, they repatriated most of the Eritreans back to their country.
Oh, okay, so that's Eritrea. Okay, good. The reason you came here was well God of Israel. At the time it was about His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie and fulfilling the prophecy of Marcus Messiah God. And Rastafari embraced that 100%, and repatriation to Africa, Ethiopia. We know that Rasta referred to all of Africa as Ethiopia, many do. And you were part of that. So how is it that I hear you know what happened, what transition occurred, what evolution occurred that you're now referring to Jesus Christ as God? What happened?
Okay, I must let you know also that I'm a Bible student.
You're a Bible student, okay.
Yeah, because when I read the Bible from Genesis 1 to Revelation 22, one chapter per day. That's all we were taught by our prophets. And when you finish that Bible, you can say hallelujah, because it's from the beginning to the end and what is going to happen in the future.
Did you read the entire Bible?
I read it 2 times.
How long did it take you to read?
3 years and 6 months for going through from the New Testament to the Old Testament. 1 chapter per day.
The New Testament to the Old Testament?
Well, the Old Testament
to the New?
Yeah,
and it took you 3 years and 6 months reading 1 chapter per day.
It's a discipline too.
Okay. So and in reading the Bible and being so disciplined about it, what happened to you?
What I learned, that because Jesus Christ came 2,000 years ago, God is a spirit. You can't see God. God lives in the heavens. In the sun, you cannot see Him. But what had happened, He sent His only begotten Son to the earth 2,000 years ago to save mankind. Because before that, people have a lot of, they call it now, writs and rights. People have to kill animals and so on, if they sin and so on. So what Christ did, He come to fulfill that He's going to save you from these things, so He gives His body as a living sacrifice. He died on the cross. Jesus Christ was special. If you observe, Adam was made from the clay, and the Spirit of God was blown into him and made him a living soul. Jesus Christ did the same thing, but He came through a virgin. That's the next miracle. I believe so. I believe that Jesus Christ came through Mary. Joseph did not know Mary when he was born. He wanted even to get rid of her. But through the Spirit now, He gave him a vision. So this is this woman. He is bringing in her stomach, in her womb, the Son of God. So Jesus Christ came on earth like Adam, but through a woman. Now, he lived 33 years on the earth, and at the end of the day, he gave his body as a living soul to save mankind. Not only black people, white people, because color is nothing to me. The color from us.
So are you a Christian now?
Yes, I'm a Christian before too. From the beginning of Pentecost, I were there now.
So even when you were a Rastafari, you were a Christian?
Yes, let me tell you about the 12 tribe of Israel doctrine.
Right.
When we get up to talk, we said, greet you in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, a long time ago, who has now revealed himself to us in the personality. Take note of the word personality of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. So we believe now.
So Emperor Haile Selassie is not God, but just a representation of God.
That's perfect. As I mentioned to you before, you have capital G and the rest is common G. You understand me? Is Jesus Christ is capital G God. There's only one God, and is representing the spirit, not flesh. Is myself flesh and Jesus' flesh is different, but the spirit is the same.
So you're aware that for many years there are many in Rastafari who said Haile Selassie is not dead and cannot die. And I think the number is decreasing now, but there's still many in Rastafari who still hold that.
That's a mystery too, you know.
What do you think about
what happened when
you think he has passed now?
When I came to Ethiopia?
Yeah.
He's a human being. Human being.
Haile Selassie is a human being.
Yes.
Okay.
His man is a human being. He came through cohabitation. His father was Makonnen and his mother was Shashemene. That's sperm. You understand me? The men who Moses they came through sperm too. Now His Majesty is defender of the faith. I call him now the powerful attorney of Jesus Christ. The person to me now, he acts. His personality and his character. You could compare him with Jesus Christ because of the work he has done on the earth. Yeah?
But Haile Selassie is a human being. But a superhuman being. Right.
A man sent from heaven, who comes from heaven.
Right. Yeah, but he's not God.
God is Jesus Christ.
Okay. So hold on.
You can't use the word God to, you know.
Right.
But come on, G.
But tell me something now.
Because we emulate him.
Right.
We follow his footsteps because of the goodness that he's doing on the earth, what he did on the earth. Let me tell you this. I, Desmond Martin, will never deny the divinity of His Imperial Majesty. You might say, why? Because he was ordained to be in that position, as Marcus Garvey told us. So he's divine. What happened, David had promised, in 2 Samuel chapter 7, he had promised David, when he chooses David as, of his own heart, he said, your dynasty will be for as long as you see the sun and the moon. Because the Bible is very good. It teaches us these things. So His Majesty was ordained. When he was born, his name was Tafari Makonnen. Tafari means to be feared. And when he was crowned, his name was changed.
Rastafari.
To know Haile Selassie I. Let me give you the interpretation of that. Haile means power. Selassie means Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Trinity. That's what Selassie means. And Kadamari means first. So His Majesty is the first power of the Trinity. That is a very heavy title. Because Jesus Christ, he was named Emmanuel. In Ethiopia, to find out it means God is with us. That's the meaning of Emmanuel. So His Majesty have a similar meaning of Jesus Christ. That's why we say his character also was so great.
Okay.
Concerning the people of Ethiopia, concerning the world. Africa was taken out of darkness. You know, if Mussolini had conquered Ethiopia at that time, we would go, Africa would go back into chains.
And I am Ragashanti, and this is
Desmond Martin.
Desmond Martin
From the tribe of Judah.
from the tribe of Judah.
I was born in July.
Born in July. And we're in Addis Ababa right now, but we're going to Shashemene tomorrow, right? And of course, both those places are in Ethiopia. We're in Africa. And Desmond is one of the many Jamaicans who came to Ethiopia as part of the repatriation movement, and who sought to live someplace that, reflected their roots, and they were not satisfied with life in what they refer to as the Western world.
System.
The system. And sometimes they will refer to the system in a different term too, SHIT or something like that.
Like Bob Marley.
Right. So, and they and in so doing, they came to a land that they felt that they would have a better connection with, and that they'll be spiritually fulfilled, and that they'll be happier here. And Desmond has been in Ethiopia for 40 years now. 40 years, and has never been back to Jamaica since he came here. And you should know that many Rastas came here, and for different reasons, they left. And the Rastas here would tell you that some of them just couldn't manage it. Them just couldn't hold it, couldn't be able to.
They were old people.
Right. And some were old too.
Most of them.
Right, and they left and things. But somebody like Desmond here, stayed the whole course, he is married and has children here.
Grandchildren too?
Yeah, and grandchildren also. So he knows more about Ethiopia. He has lived longer in Ethiopia than he has in Jamaica. Right?
That's great.
He has lived longer in Ethiopia than he has in Jamaica. So one would say that he perhaps knows more about Ethiopia than perhaps about Jamaica right now. That would be presumptuous.
I think so, because if I go to Jamaica now, what I hear, couldn't find which I would come from.
So why? You have no intention of going back to Jamaica?
Yeah, now that I'm matured, now that I've done 40 years
right
in Ethiopia.
Why you want to go back to Jamaica?
Before I came, our prophet, he was so flexible. He said, there's a time will come when you will get a chance to visit your family. So that's what I'm going to fulfill.
So you have a lot of relatives in Jamaica?
Yeah, I have people, man. Because my family was a big family, And my mind is that, but my heart is not that. But many of my family say, why you don't come? And so on. So I want to fulfill that.
So you never have a desire to go back? You never miss Jamaica yet?
No, sir.
You never miss Jamaica yet?
When I just came, sometimes I'm vision in the night and wake up and find myself in the Ethiopia and say, Lord God, how is this? You understand me?
Right.
But now, my mind, the made up mind, is that not to go back. No matter what you get. So that was in my mind before. So I prepared to go through the fire like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And that's what I did.
But tell me something. Why is it that when I talk to some people from when I was at the University of the West Indies, as a lecturer, some people will, they would sometimes ridicule many of the Rastas who came here for a different life outside of Jamaica. And they would say, why you leave your home country? Why so and so and this? But I find it interesting that they don't necessarily say the same thing about people who go to the United States or they go to England and whatever, when those people too are leaving Jamaica for what they consider a better life. So, and we all know that happiness is individually defined. Why is it that people can't see the similarity with what you and your colleagues did, as is the case with what many Jamaicans who went to Canada, especially the United States, and to England? Because essentially it's the same thing, but why they can't see?
What happened? They're like a horse. Their intention is to get money. My intention is not to get money. My intention is to get peace of mind. That's what the Ethiopia gives you. It will give you peace of mind.
Explain that. Explain that peace of mind that you have here.
Okay.
Are you saying that you have peace of mind here that you want to have in Jamaica?
Yeah. For example, no, when you wake up in Jamaica, sometimes you see so many guns, people kill over nothing. In Ethiopia, that is out of the question. You're safe. The news that comes out from Ethiopia to make the careless Ethiopian be afraid is not true. At this moment of time in Ethiopia is peace. People live together, different tribes. I talk about different tribes.
Ethiopia has a lot of different tribes.
About 81. And so the main tribes are the Amaras, the Tigres, the Oromos. They're about 40% of the population. But all these people live together under one heading. Even if you're Islam, it doesn't matter. Christians and Islam, the first I see like this, they live together peacefully. Sometimes you have factions that comes up, But I can tell you that I have peace of mind. And when you have peace of mind, it's like you know first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and then all things shall be added unto you. You understand me? When I say all things, life, if it is material also, what man make, man must have.
So you left Jamaica and came to Ethiopia for a better life, and you're saying that you did indeed find that better life.
I find peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
Are you 100% sure about that?
Let me tell you the American and them place there, where the president come and tell me, man, he don't have no peace of mind. You have to just work from 3 jobs, you have to work and you have to think about to pay your telephone bill, your light bill, your that. Me not be so. It's my security land, and we struggle, and we build a house, and we are living a normal life. We call it in Ethiopia hand to mouth. That's enough for the time being. But I am 100% sure that a little later, when the upper claps,
when the after claps come,
those people who that's about why you make this choice, they will want to come too. So let me tell you, so that's what nicer than down at Babylon. Babylon appears bling bling.
So you're saying that
there's a pending.
You're saying that something is going to happen in the future. A pending doom coming, where a lot of people who are not attracted to Africa are going to run come to Africa.
The scientists them know. That's why I use the word whosoever will may come. Not only black people.
Right.
Because out of one Adam came all nation. And let me quote, it's my words. The color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of your eyes. And this is the pupil and the black that I think that damage your blind. So now let us try our best to cooperate with all nations. Because you have Am, which is black, Shem, which is brown, and Japhet, which is white.
All right, but what would you know, a Jamaican who came here and you've been here 40 years now? What message do you have for Jamaicans who are listening this? Watching and listening here right now.
The Jamaican, but particular the Rastafarians.
Yeah.
Particular the Rastafarians.
Where you have to say to Rasta Jamaica?
Yeah, but like all them not come to Africa, all them big singer. But
who want to come to Africa? Like one.
You can't call them.
Don't call them. But when you say you don't like them, but when you say what you mean? Enough of them are this and that from Africa and them don't come.
You have Cape Town, you want to see me here.
Fireman Cape Town, the man them say they want to see you. You're welcome in my Shashemene.
Yeah, man, come back to take care of your dread.
Cape Town, I'm a virgin in the south.
Yeah. Mr. Sizzler.
Yeah, Sizzler. Wait, who passed through? Sizzler passed through.
Dennis Brown,
the Prince.
Escalenda Judah. Never have a picture with Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Bob Marley.
What about Freddie McGregor?
Never have a guitar.
Which other big artists, Rasta artists passed through, come through? Shashemene, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
Yeah, look, some of them live remote. Never get magnifying glass to find them.
Alright, we're not calling them. We're not calling them. But we are about enough of them now who get up every day, Africa this, Africa that, Africa. Have the money and can come here, but them don't come. What you say to them? What you say? What?
No, listen, I can't them no man.
No, but what you have to say?
When the fire they are must still. That time, I'm not going to realize.
No, but I'm going to ask you point blank. Ask you point blank. Is it the case? Is it that there's enough Rasta in the people? people check for Rasta. I said, no, well, yeah, we say back to Africa, but it's not necessarily a literal back to Africa. It's not necessarily back to Africa in body, but the most important thing is to get back to Africa in mind. And you don't have to be in Africa to get that. So hold on. You have a Rasta who said that, right? All right. You have another set of Rasta who said, yeah, we want to go, but
Money.
yeah, let me be honest with you. We just don't. You think it's easy if you fly to Ethiopia, East Africa.
Solve their problem.
So a lot of so a lot of Rastas say, no, I'm not going to have money, but that's not the money because it costs a food for coming over here. But at the same time, do you believe that some of them, there's just some commercial value in saying them are Rasta when them sing music? Do you think that some of them are just being hypocritical and they're not really committed to the African idea? What do you think?
I don't think they're, what you just say, hypocritical. No.
No, you know.
I think they're afraid.
Afraid of what?
Of Africa. To the sound. Because the Bible says no.
Yeah.
The careless Ethiopians,
yeah,
because of the news that go out, will be afraid.
Hold on. So you really think that I'm afraid to come Africa?
You have paper soldier, you know.
Paper soldier?
Eh? And you have Christian soldier. And you have bad boy too. You understand me?
Yeah.
All of them that's all. But now when I observe the things, you know, when they read the newspaper, the war in a Congo, boom, boom, boom. No. War is this place. All over the world war. The war is all over the place now. But people still have moved. Now, the black people, them know me and like them come home. Or else.
No, you said something earlier to me today. You said,
you say, else? No, white people don't take it.
White people don't take it.
What do you mean?
No, earlier you said to me,
there's so much white people there.
Hold on, I want to be clear with you. You said, Ragashanti, I am really glad that you came here. I just want more Rasta to come here because a lot of the people who are coming here, they're not Rasta, that you say, right? So you're appealing specifically to Rasta. Don't be afraid. Come to, is it Africa or in particular Ethiopia?
Because
what is it?
I don't want to say Ethiopia. I want to say that Africa. Particularly Ethiopia.
Particularly
It was never colonized. The people are different from the other states.
Okay.
I observed that. Their mind is different. They accept everybody. When you go to Ghana and certain African countries, the black people, they bow down to the white people. That's not happening at all. They don't have to see. They bow down. In Ethiopia, nobody will bow down because they don't have the knowledge of colonization.
Okay, it's not in the history.
No, it's not in their blood. It's not in their eyesight.
Okay, all right.
When they go, hey, white boy, you understand me?
And at the same time, you're saying they're very inclusive and accepting of diversity.
Yes.
And 81 tribes are here and people living relatively peaceful and so forth. So you're saying that's a legacy and there's a history of
so,
inter-ethnic tolerance here in Ethiopia.
Rasta man, don't man forget no paper soldier, you know. Because when we go to Jamaica, it's soft. If you say you're soft and turn hard and you're hard and turn soft. You better know that. So all who are Rasta now, maybe money no come energy. But me tell you something now. We were sold for that. I hear the person talk about some man want to come in a spirit. We said I leave Africa and a spirit will come we live in that. A body. Our body that chains. Our body that chains and what problem we die on the seas and reach Jamaica and all over the Caribbean and the Americas. Not me say you have to compare it to a body have to come back.
Hold on. Never ask you something. I don't want you to because I was sound a little bit controversial.
I'm so calm.
Alright, so Rastafari and Jamaica listen now and you said, don't afraid, come Africa. Suppose a Rasta woman, a Rasta man, I said no, so why? What me I go get if I go there? What's the difference? What you tell me?
I tell you, they have a longer life.
Yes.
Because their life is not in jeopardy. They're not targeted.
So it's safer here?
Yes, it's very much safer.
Just in Ethiopia, we know there are other areas of Africa that's on the turmoil.
Great, man. The people, they have security to the max. This is the El Shaiba and Al Qaeda can't come here. And them come in with the government. You understand me? So now, for safety, because that was the ark, you know, for safety to go to the ark.
Alright, apart from safety though, what about? Well, keep it real, right?
The material part of it.
Yeah, people, the economic part, people, the economic part,
observe the Rasta
people have them food and all them something.
And the Rastafarians have the spirituality already.
Yeah.
Don't
Come here, tell you right, you know, the people have not bring the farming and them something.
You know, the king tell me now, the crown prince.
Yeah.
Who is next to the throne, coming when you've got Sabbath.
Yeah.
Him say, the Rastafarians, you know, they are spiritual, but they lack material. But the mind material is out, it have to balance.
Right.
It have to balance 50% spiritual.
So what you ever say to them people that know what I say, alright, but they are Jamaica, I can eat a small food, I can shut a fire, I can do so, and do so. What you ever tell them? What you say to them?
Also that, you know the money for pay the fare. Good, you know the money for pay the fare. Let me solve that problem there. Let me tell you what the history of the Bible again. It said we were sold for naught. Zero old shoes and mirror which the white man then give it and they sell it. Now a time will come that we will redeem for naught. It looks impossible. But I think especially the Europeans, they have an obligation to take us out. A time when they come down for send them back. You know, the serious people don't run down. You say black people think they're safe in America, white people country, you don't safe. A time when them comes and find the rules, because the Bible said that too, every nation will find them rules. So a time when they come, when they say, man, they'll find the federation.
So you support all efforts to secure reparations from
not only reparation,
who are responsible for displaying the people from the African diaspora.
For the right people.
Okay.
Because reparation means to be spent in Africa. No, the diaspora now are claiming to be in the West. No, get it in the West, it's developed in the West. I'm in the same situation.
Okay.
Repatriation must be for Africa. So the stop off about repatriation for the West. It must be for Africa because Africa obeys creators and we need material to create it. So now the time will come when they have to come, the Bible says these things, put the jewels at our feet. You see, especially now.
No, but hold on. Suppose somebody listen and say, this man is espousing a romantic ideal. He's not living in the real world. He's excessively spiritual, and his goals are not grounded in the political and economic reality that presently prevail in the world. I think this man is still living a pipe dream. So if somebody said that to you, what does it to him?
Yeah, me that tell him so now. Me, Desmond Martin, have a villa. House in a Shashemene. Me, Desmond Martin, have a 15-seater taxi downstairs. You understand me? That means now I put spirituality in front of materiality, but now me work hard to achieve these things in Ethiopia.
Right.
Because if you work in the way of the world, if you work, you will achieve. If you don't work, you remain poor. You saw that? If you don't work, you remain poor. If you work, you can do what you want, materially. So, a man, if you think, when you come to Ethiopia, just come sit down. No, you have to work because Africa is creators. We were raped. We have to put back in place. Like Timbuktu and all those places, civilization have to come back to Africa and think it's working out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's working out. And I'm not cursing nobody neither, you know. I just put me in awareness.
Okay. All right. I'm going to Shashemene tomorrow, as you know. What should I expect when I go to Shashemene? And what recommendations you have?
Don't expect heaven on earth.
Okay.
That's what I expect. I deal with reality. Shashemene is not like Addis Ababa. You can dust my blow upon you.
Right.
And you can fly and touch you. That's run enough people.
That run enough people?
Well, time like over 30 years ago, when the talks are fly going on your mouth.
And the talk and fly running on your mouth? And people couldn't manage that?
Well, it's what? Man, say,
A man cut and left and say, I can't buy, man, I want to fly them,
man,
man.
we get experience.
Mm.
Me and a brethren, come from Jamaica. And Jamaica was the biggest mouth. Last year, we will talk today on the rice and pick our cool. And me and them come now, and me and my lady must sleep, the men must sleep on the bed. See him bed.
Eh.
And we see him packing bag. The night.
Eh.
Them tell them, I have a blanket, you know. I feel blanket, solve my coldness, you know. And me don't know moving now. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, because it was at 6 o'clock. Me just see, me just come off of the bed, and me just people, see, and then just get up, and then go on the door. Nobody knows the door. Me I see him again, you're Jamaican there.
So you say, I better you soft and get hard than hard and get soft. Because him did hard, he must say, Selassie, I am beer things. And come here and sneak away.
Yeah, man, sneak away. That's about one. Let me say about Shashemene too. Shashemene is 250 kilometers from Addis. That is the length of Jamaica.
Okay.
100 almost miles Jamaica, 160 something miles. Equivalent 200. So me travel from Shashemene to Ethiopia, the length of Jamaica, and it takes 4 hours now. We have Nyland Road now. We can just fly so. You know, so I'm into Shashemene. When you to Shashemene now, you might be surprised some people. Because the word Shashemene is international, but when you come and see it, you will say, you know, it's more developed than this. And so much Rasta man in the world. So I'm pleading to the Rasta man in the world now to help us develop Shashemene so when you come, you don't have those remarks. You understand me? So I prepare your mind out. When it comes to Shashemene, the expectation is like heaven and earth. No, it's not heaven and earth either. It's normal living.
No man, go and talk to the Amrik, man.
Addis Ababa. There's so much work, literally, it's awesome.
So, tinanan.
From Addis Ababa, it was on to the more than 4 hours journey, most of it on the King's Highway to Shashemene. And as we drove, I delightfully listened to Desmond and his son and their colleagues speaking that language I heard so much about, Amharic. Simultaneously, I was eagerly absorbing what to them was just normal and not a big deal, but to me, it was just simply exciting. The sights and sounds of Ethiopia.
Shout out to all the reggae fans.
Yeah, it's gonna be a reggae mix right there. And then after that, after the song,
On the King's Highway, I go Shashemene, Albarasi in our ears, Ethiopia the thing there. Even though we got into Shashemene quite late, I asked them if we could just quickly swing by a building I've always wanted to see in person. 12 Tribes of Israel, Shashemene headquarters. The next day, I awoke to the fullness of Shashemene under the bright sun. It was simple, very simple. But I knew what was simple to me was a powerful process, a powerful place for the Rastafari that were living there. Because to them, they are correcting a grave and cruel injustice that was perpetrated on Africa, resulting in the killing, the maiming, and the displacement of millions of people. To them, Shashemene is home. Their true home. About a day or two before I arrived in Ethiopia, the Rastafarian community of Shashemene had experienced the most tragic event. A member of their community was viciously murdered by Ethiopians. Shashemene Rastafarians, some explained the reasons for this to me. One, apparently there's been a very, very small minority of Ethiopians who have long since been displeased with the fact that His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie had given land to Rastas from all over the world to repatriate to Ethiopia. They felt that they should be the recipients of those lands and that outsiders should not be receiving Ethiopian lands. Two, some members of the Rastafarian repatriated community, while they're not exactly multi-billionaires, some, they have some resources and they have, their savings and their hard-earned money that they worked for. And as such, they were able to build nicer houses than is average there, and they were able to possess pretty good appliances. You have a minority of Ethiopians who see this and just like anywhere in the world, they are of the opinion that they should take that from the owners and that they want it for themselves or they want to go sell it to make money. So, in other words, they're members of the Rastafarian community. They have resources that are in ways attractive to the criminal element. Needless to say, this vicious murder really rocked the Rastafarian community, and indeed, it tested the resolve of some. Yes, they were depressed. Yes, they were down. Yes, they were feeling awful. with his passing. But simultaneously, what I saw and felt was a community doubling down on their commitment to the importance of repatriation. What I saw was a community communicating that nothing, absolutely nothing will deter them from the success of the repatriation of African peoples. What I saw was remarkable strength in the face of extreme adversity.
Yeah.
A God soldier,
He was a God soldier, meaning
Yeah, he worked for God. Christ is his Lord and Savior. You know,
and he's originally from Trinidad,
he is originally from Trinidad.
as are you, right?
Yes,
Okay, and I understand he came here 4 years ago.
yes.
So how do you feel as a fellow, as a colleague, a brethren who also is from Trinidad, repatriated here, and you see this happen to him?
Like I say, I can't sleep until now. It's a sad. This is a sad. They choose the most feeble among us. That is an evil thing or go down there. You understand? Even when I listen to all how he was treated, to be naked and tied up and
One thing I want to say about that can't stop repatriation.
no.
That's the greatest part of it. This can't stop repatriation. We can get together. We say mansion in there.
This is a
Yes, all the mansions. They have sorrow. Sometimes you have a time to mourn and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time for happiness and everything. Today's a day for mourning,
Right.
Yeah, man. So that's it.
Today, unfortunately, is a very sad day, and it
I
will
mean,
be down in history in a way.
could you tell us about today why it is sad, as diplomatic as you wish?
Well, the most obvious thing is that over years, of course, poor people are going to be tempted to steal from people who come from outside and have things. So that's been going on here and there. And once, and two or three, and some rare times, somebody might actually walking a road at night and get licked down for them things.
Right.
But this time now, Brethren is murdered. They don't just clean him out, and I mean clean him out and take out everything out of the closet and turn every drawer upside down. And he lives alone.
And how old was he?
He was 62 years old, born in Trinidad, lived in America from about 1990 until 2011 when he repatriated. And
Also, he repatriated just 4 years ago.
yeah, and he built himself the house that he was killed in.
Oh my.
So, and he came as a beekeeper. He can bring the things what you need for harvest bee and the honey.
So how has this impacted the Rastafari community here at Shashemene?
Well, the most that I would say is that it's less than 48 hours, and what we see is that it's brought us all together, because like how Marcus Garvey said, when our backs are against the wall, we automatically are coming together. So let us look for the positive, that it will bring a greater unity amongst us living here, and it will make the government, local, federal, international, more aware of the need for us to be more protected in our assimilation.
Yes. Yeah.
At the burial site of a funeral, reality kicks in. Seeing the deceased descend into the grave is a painful experience. Such was the case for the Rastafari of Shashemene as they laid to rest their colleague. However, in the midst of their grief and their agony, they kept their eyes on the prize, and the defiance was obvious. The determination was obvious, as was evidenced in a song spontaneously raised by a member of the Rastafari community.
Move. Put on the plan, move. Yeah. Here you want to pass, you can pass. You can drop it. Give me, I want again and again. Let him play. Shall break every chain for the Lion of Judah. Shall break every chain and give us the victory again and again. You know, unfortunately, my virgin was murdered at the car. When we live alone. I know some brother is even tell him to get a watchman, you know, but he's a man who is militant, but in body, he's actually sick. And you know, the first time I watched this happen, and he was killed. And we buried him today.
And you're saying all your 40 years of being here, this has never happened to anybody from the 12 tribes community or the repatriation?
No, I never see it happen.
Never happened.
That's robbery, a petty robbery on them.
Right,
you know?
right.
But not on the scale, you know. And he living out here now with a dark corner, you know, a dark road, no light, and the old man, and I have a change too.
Oh, I'm not looking for food. I have money.
And a fridge, I'm talking about fridge, television, washing machine, laptop, you know, so, you know, poverty, living out here with poverty and everything attracts. You have to have security, you know, and I need my security.
What's the name of the organization here that formed an organization?
No, we came at the same church of Israel,
Right.
but we were advised in order to have an umbrella for the other mansions.
Right.
In terms of Israel, about 90% of Shashemene population is about 400 people is here. Yeah?
Right.
And I observed that in order to go to the government before, we usually go to the government in splinter groups like the World Federation, the Tribe of Israel, and the Bingi. You know, the Bob Shanti just come. The other person named Priest Paul, very active. You know, I observed that we now organize to build this umbrella, and we call it Jamaica Rastafarian Development Community.
Jamaica Rastafarian Development Community.
And from 2002, we had applied for a registration called a charity organization. It's a charity organization, Ethiopia charity. And they give us a certificate. You have to renew that every 3 years. We still have it. And we venture into education. In Shashemene, we have a school, you know, called the RDC Elementary School. It had about 400 or 500 students also, which is a Britain from America especially help us to pay the bills, like teachers and so on. But we still struggle to have this exit. So in that manner, we becomes legal entity. So we organized with the Brethren them about 4 or 5 years ago. We have the Bingi, we did have a great man named Brother Rock in Barcelona, Priest Paul, the Baba Shanti. The Naya Bingi was Brother Rock, the 12th tribe of Israel, which is majority of people still, and the World Federation, Brother Moody. The man Solomon, they live together at the moment. We get together and understand the situation, and we are photographed.
So Bingi, Bobo Shanti,
12 tribes,
and 12 tribes,
and Federation representative.
Okay.
We invited them under this umbrella, and we make very many missions to foreign affairs, immigration, local authorities in Shashemene, and they responded. In Shashemene at the moment, now, what they told us before why we do this, as I mentioned, there were splinter groups was coming. And they said, no, why you don't organize yourself? So they have a democratic election. And they elected me to be the chairman of that. And so that's 2002 that, and 2015 or 13 years. Me is the chairman there. I want to let it go now because it's a relay. You know, what people like for certain things like them have power. No, you must share it. So now we are likely, especially the younger people. The younger people must come and take up these challenges, especially from the Western world too, because I know about computer runnings and it makes life easier too. So we are expecting, the spiritual part is okay in Ethiopia, we need the material development. That's why we put development in the Jamaica Rastafari Development Committee, because we are Africa's creators. We must build school and hospitals like Marcos trained us. These are things we must prepare in our mind. But it's a struggle, but also a challenge. And I think if we put our hands and heart towards it, we will be successful. And we must be successful.
My brother.
Because God help you who help yourself. God help those who help themselves. We have handouts. I don't like handouts.
So saith the scripture.
I don't like handouts. So
and that's what them name him.
Yeah, I'm going through that.
I know say I Ethiopia with it. Okay. Am I a Christian? I'm not a Christian in the sense that I'm not a Christian in the sense that I'm not baptized, you know. But I was raised in Christian church.
Do you believe in Jesus Christ?
Do I believe in
a personal savior?
I believe in God, but but I am aware that all across the world you have different representations of God. So I reach an understanding that, when Garvey said, listen, of course the white man will have a wide representation of God. Him white, so that him for have. So the black man must have him own a representation of God. My extended interpretation of that from Garvey is that your relationship with God is what works for you. So whatever representation you have that work with, and it's controversial because you have women, for example, saying, why are all God men? And they saying that's a deliberate thing that men do.
The Buddha said, call God.
Yeah,
So religion becomes personal.
Religion is a personal journey.
Yes.
Right? And it's just so sad that so many of these wars and conflicts, it's really people arguing about differences about the same thing. And killing millions of people throughout history just because people have different interpretations of the same thing. So I don't want to get caught up in that.
And the repatriation here said about it. Said, whosoever
will may
come.
Right.
If you say that donkey, they got one time you have a thing, you have conversion. After you come, it will be proven. Things will happen that you prove that there exists a being, a supernatural being, an omnipotent being, and it's that you can see with the naked eye. When you come to Africa, you realize that you have to get back in your mind.
No, I'm not for real just because some people, like you said,
I'm introducing the Bible to you. I'm introducing the Bible to you, like how I read it. It's difficult to you.
Me, I have to read it tomorrow. Me, I have to read it tomorrow.
Because conversion is there too.
Alright, that's alright. But you're a devout Christian now. What a journey. This man, he appears simple. And he is simple, but simultaneously he is complex because follow the reasoning. At first, the man believed wholly and solely in Haile Selassie. Hold on, as a deity. But now the man said, is Jesus Christ in believing, but he would never deny the divinity of Haile Selassie, who he says is
divine.
Who is a divine representation of God, right? And therein you have evolution, development, growth in your spirituality, growth in your understanding of God.
And when you get bigger, eat meat. We are doing milk in the first part of the doctrine. No, we can't eat meat and we can't talk boldly. And nobody can do nothing.
Well, you eat meat?
No, the book tells you what to eat in Leviticus 11. It doesn't mean so now quote that Bible. It tells you what to eat and what not to eat. It said don't eat pork. And most of the world eat pork. Don't eat no pork because when you throw rum out on pork up here, I say, I don't need to. But now me eat meat.
Okay.
I like chicken and I like goat. Curry goat.
Okay.
And I like that. We want some ackee and saltfish now. We can substitute. You say, every Miss Joe.
So when you go to Jamaica, man, you get some ackee and saltfish. When you go to Jamaica? It would have been nice if you go now after 40 years. That's a nice little round, You can't imagine how the brethren would have welcomed you down there.
I have some sisters and brethren in the middle school, we don't know what
You see?
And so the Rasta said, me is soft, but me tough now. Africa tough me up. And you understand me? So now, I am tough, remain tough, come to Ethiopia, a salvation that's for your body.
All right, and before we go, one last thing. What role do you believe the Jamaican government can play in, and I'm choosing my words carefully, through diplomatic channels to encourage the Ethiopian government to extend more recognition to the Jamaicans who have been here for decades, contributing to Ethiopian society, committed to Ethiopian society and culture and country, love Ethiopia. You even do some running and some athletics when you were younger, you know, and things.
I love that.
What role do you think the government? You think the government should get involved? You think the Jamaican government should get involved? And
they did get involved.
They did also.
In His Majesty had prepared a observer status for the government of Jamaica 49 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, 2 years ago, Portia Simpson came to Jamaica.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson,
2013. She came to Ethiopia. I love her. You know what she did in the meeting? She said, Rastafari! And she said, I grew in the ghetto and I appreciate the Rastafarians. Now, this publication that was set down by the OAU, I am going to work on it. And in 2015, she sent a delegation, ambassadors from South Africa, and some other people, and even Peter Phillips, he came in this year, a couple of 3 months ago.
Who was a Rasta.
Yeah, who was a Rasta too.
And I think his wife is living in West Africa now, right?
Yeah. And
ex-wife.
And they promised us that they work on this program so that we in the Jamaicans in Ethiopia will be legally seated. And also, that seat was not for Jamaicans alone.
Did they give you did they kind of give you any timeline about
December when? By December 2015, we will send this delegation. I would like to use the right words, so it's concerning the passport office. And the visa office. These delegations.
But the matter is on the table, and some movements are being made in that direction. And perhaps some encouragement should be given to the government to continue, right?
Optimistic.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I also appreciate your comment.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned before, I hope that the brothers will take your footsteps.
Right.
Follow your footsteps.
If Madman Ragashanti can make it a priority, because I told you I was supposed to go to Ghana. Hold on. I was supposed to go to Ghana first.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go to Ghana first. And me have a mad side to me. But that mad side as a platform where I'm just comfortable with who I am and I don't give a damn. However, that comfort that I have right now, which by the way is powerful, because I see people try to touch me, I can't touch me. But that power that I have, first, I must say, it came from some teachings I got from my mother. But believe it or not, is Rasta in Jamaica teach me how to be comfortable with who I am and stop and not hate man. Somebody like me would never bleach. Them used to call me donkey nose while at school and I get mad at me laugh off it. Years later I laugh. But this Rasta explains certain things. I mean, later on I went to college and school and I learned more. But in terms of getting rid of that anger and having that knowledge where you understand the thing and you can laugh off at somebody who did have a weapon where did have an impact on you before, but didn't have it no more. It's Rasta to teach me certain things. No, you proud of yourself. I saw this and that come from, I saw that and that. Introduce me to certain books and all them things. So because of that, I've always wanted. It's almost like a pilgrimage for me.
So I was the Rasta man, them jealous of you. I was the Rasta man, them jealous of you because he's not a Rasta.
No, hold on, no. You don't know what I say. Cause me have a form of entertainment too, some of them not really too like, you know. But me go hard, you know. But that's me, I don't care. If you ain't like me, I don't like me. They don't know what I say. When me not even reach here, I just tell some people say me I go eat it. Sure, I'm gonna starve. You go Ethiopia. And them start treating different. What I'm saying to you is that there are people with Rasta persuasion from Jamaica who consider it like this honorable, incredible thing that you're actually going to be an Ethiopian soil. And them start looking at me different. For me, it's a personal thing for me, and it's also an opportunity to share with what Tambourine family, my listeners on my radio station. But at the same time, it is a personal journey for me. It's one of them things that, you know, I'm talking about the bucket list, things to do in your lifetime.
Yeah.
It's one of them things where I say, oh.
Let me nice him up too. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
The Bible said 7 women will take hold of one man, and Ethiopia that. Celebration. Pretty words, man. You understand me? 7 women shall take hold of one man in the last days, and the Rasta man never have that. You understand me? So, me have 2. You understand me? I can't manage 7. But now, these are the prophecies I have fulfilled. So, there was a woman, the place here, Rasta in Jamaica, every woman want you. So now, who sexy must, if you sexy, you are sexy too. So you can come home through sex.
Desmond, it goes so no. Permanent links, alright? And again, thanks again here. Safety and protection 24/7.
Ethiopia has for centuries offered the world so much that is positive. And presently, that includes the Rastafari of Shashemene, whose massive contribution to the correcting of centuries-old indescribable brutality against Africa and its peoples will not be fully understood in our lifetime, I sense, but rather decades and centuries later with the resurgence of a different and more powerful Africa. Perhaps Desmond's prophecy will come true. Perhaps a series of events will indeed result in a great many people running to Africa for solace and security and reconnection. Perhaps. But what is presently undeniable is the resounding commitment of the Rastafari of Shashemene to manifest the vision of repatriation. And it may well be that the one among them that most personifies the repatriation vision is Desmond Martin. Desmond, smart, creative, ambitious, contradictory, unwavering, layered, nuanced, focused, humorous, responsible. I could go on and on with the adjectives, but what is unmistakably clear is that he is a visionary extraordinaire. Desmond Martin, the epitome of Rastafari repatriation. Desmond and the Rastafari of Shashemene are literally living the vision of repatriation to Africa and making the necessary sacrifices that have long since accompanied pioneers of great accomplishments, including the most ultimate of all sacrifices, death.
Concerning repatriation, that involved too. Because I observed it caused a unity amongst the community. So, all mansions were present at his burial. You understand me? So it's a good example that, we're tight. Death can't stop this. Because death ways a sting and grave ways a victory.
And the only enemy we believe that we conquer, and that Jesus Christ alone how did that for them come. Conquer this so we can live for 1,000 years. 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 So we can live for 1,000 years.